For 70 years, the ocean knew one sound: the thunder of American power. The roar of jet engines catapulted from nuclear decks, echoing through the salt air. It was a sound of dominance, of confidence, of control. But one morning in late 2025, another sound broke through. The silent, sharper, cleaner, colder. On the deck of Fujian, China's newest carrier, a J-35 lifted off not by steam, but by electromagnetism. No smoke, no heat. Just force invisible, instant, undeniable. In 2 seconds, 70 years of monopoly dissolved. That sound was not a roar. It was a fracture, a reminder that even empires built on technology can be out-engineered. If you think this was just a test flight, think again. What you're about to hear will unravel how the very system America invented, steam, pressure, and control, became the reason it could finally be surpassed. Beneath every American carrier lies a symphony of steam and steel. The Nimitz class used boiling water and pistons to hurl aircraft into the air. 60 bars of pressure released in 3 seconds, each launch a controlled explosion. For half a century, this violent ballet defined naval aviation. But pressure has limits. Heat erodes. Valves fail. Maintenance costs grow. Within the roar of power, the first whisper of weakness appeared. What if launch didn't require heat at all? That question changed everything. Because what came next wasn't just an upgrade, it was a revolution in physics. And what you'll hear in the next part is something even many Pentagon insiders admit they never expected anyone else to replicate. In the early 2000s, the US Navy turned steam into silence. EMALS, the electromagnetic aircraft launch system, replaced boiling water with stored electricity. A 90-meter linear motor accelerated a 30-ton jet from 0 to 250 kilometers per hour in under 2 seconds. The Ford-class carriers became laboratories of pure physics where current replaced combustion. Western analysts called it impossible to copy because EMALS wasn't about materials, it was about calibration, software, and patience. For 2 decades, no one else came close. But far from the spotlight, somewhere in the east, rail tracks glowed under test lights. Someone was rewriting an equation the US thought would never be solved again. And when those coils first came alive, America didn't realize it had just lost control of a secret once believed untouchable. In the next part, you'll see how 2 decades of quiet replication rewrote the boundaries of American engineering. In Liaoning, teams of engineers began a process few believed possible, recreating electromagnetism from nothing. No US data, no manuals, only physics. They built rails across concrete fields, burned through copper coils, and mapped vibration signatures one failure at a time. Between 2017 and 2022, they cracked what had been locked away for decades. When the Fujian took shape, its deck carried not imitation, but independence. 3 electromagnetic catapults, driven entirely by current. No steam, no roar, just purpose. And when the J-35 touched that rail, 20 years of theory became reality. But current alone doesn't create flight. To survive that power, China needed a new kind of fighter. A frame built not just to fly, but to endure electricity itself. What comes next will test the limits of flesh, metal, and control. The J-35 isn't designed to fly, it's designed to survive. Every hinge, rivet, and alloy was forged to endure the electromagnetic blast of launch. Its titanium composite skin flexes under 3.5 seconds of raw acceleration. The WS-19 engines react through digital FADEC control, smoothing thrust as the jet rides the invisible wave. The airframe conducts electricity just enough to live through it. It doesn't chase beauty, it chases endurance. And when it met the catapult, the equation was complete. Electricity had found its weapon. But endurance means nothing without proof. In the next part, you'll witness the launch itself, a moment so precise that, according to reports, It triggered an emergency briefing inside the Pentagon. What they saw that morning forced them to rethink the meaning of technological security. Dawn. The deck hums with current. Technicians step back. The pilot's breath fogs the canopy. Then, silence. A pulse of electricity surges through the rail, and the jet disappears. 2 seconds. No smoke, no noise, only acceleration. G-forces fold the pilot into his seat as the horizon bends. The J-35 climbs, vanishes, and the deck resets, ready for another. That moment rewrote decades of assumption. That control of electromagnetism was exclusive. It never was. But don't draw conclusions yet, because in the next part, we'll measure reality against experience, where America's 10,000 launches meet China's first 100, and the true definition of obsolete finally takes shape. The Ford class and the Fujian now share the same law of physics. Energy becomes motion. The US EMALS has launched over 10,000 times. China's barely 100. On paper, both deliver around 120 megajoules. Power parity achieved. Yet reliability, calibration, and training separate mastery from replication. EMALS isn't a weapon, it's a process. And processes mature through repetition. Still, exclusivity has ended. The monopoly of electromagnetism is gone. In engineering terms, obsolete doesn't mean defeated, it means shared. And when parity emerges, strategy shifts. In the next part, we'll see how balance, not dominance, is quietly rewriting the global blueprint of technology. Balance isn't about who wins, it's about who learns. Once, only American decks could launch stealth fighters. Now, 2 nations can. That single fact reshapes logistics, doctrine, and deterrence. Every catapult built narrows the gap between ambition and reality. For engineers, that's progress. For policymakers, it's discomfort. But for history, it's inevitability. Machines evolve faster than nations can react. Technology doesn't choose sides, it follows whoever dares to build. And before you close this story, the final part will remind you why progress has no owner, no flag, and no pause. Only the endless rhythm of hands that keep building. Every age is born from the failure of the last. Steam gave way to current. Pressure surrendered to precision. What began as a race between nations became a dialogue among engineers, people bound by curiosity more than borders. The J-35 and the F-35C aren't rivals. They are reflections proof that control defines power more than speed or size. History won't remember who built first. It will remember who built better. The launch from Fujian wasn't a warning. It was an evolution, a moment where technology stopped serving flags and started serving progress itself.